My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask your pardon for my sins and the grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. I've always very much envied people who, the night before a big exam or some big challenge, or the night before having an early morning flight, are able to get a good night's sleep. I, on the other hand, usually don't sleep well the night before some big challenge or even some exciting event, because there could be a lot of emotions. There could be a lot of anxiety or fear or even looking forward to something. And that night before a big event is what we hear about in the gospel today. There's a few scenes in the gospel that have a relative location with regard to the overall narrative. And so when we read today that Jesus gets into the boat and there's this storm that suddenly comes up. We hear suddenly a violent storm came upon the sea, so the boat was being swamped by the waves. But Jesus was asleep. We hear that Jesus was asleep in the middle of this violent storm, so much so that the apostles run and say, "Lord, save us, we're going to drown." This event always happens the night before the confrontation of the demoniac in the town of the Gerasenes, the region of the Gerasenes. So it's the night before that confrontation between Jesus and this very powerful demoniac possessed by legion, by a great number of demons, that on the water that night they experience the storm. And that can be a model for us, an image of what can happen in our life. And Jesus, you teach us, not just with words, not just with parables and teachings, but Jesus, you even teach us by your example. You give us an example to follow. In the incarnation, we can imitate you. And so, this night before, this big confrontation between you and this number of demons that call themselves Legion, you sleep. You get a good night's sleep, and the wind and the waves, the storm, and the fact that the boat is being thrown all about can even be a manifestation of what we could be feeling interiorly when we have a big event the next day. Again, maybe the night before a big exam, or maybe we have to have a really difficult conversation with someone that we love, and that anxiety is there, and it keeps us from getting a good night's sleep, and we're just wondering what's going to happen and playing out all the scenarios in our mind. And that could be like the wind and the waves, which is pushing us back and forth, and we feel like, I'm going to drown. I'm never going to make it till morning. Or even it could be the night before something we're really looking forward to, right? Then the day before getting married or proposing to someone that we want to marry, and just playing through all the scenarios, that anxiety, that anticipation can be there. And it can cause us to spend so much time considering all of the different scenarios that would come up that we end up not being able to sleep at all. We're so worried or anxious or filled with just a joyful anticipation. And this happens in a very natural way. Our amygdala is meant to send off warning bells in our mind, in our psyche, and let us know that either there's a threat or an opportunity. And if we ignore it, like an alarm clock that sometimes can go from just a gentle beeping to a very loud blaring buzz, that's what will happen with the amygdala. If we try to ignore it, and we try to just push it aside, then it can just gets louder and louder and louder because we're nervous interiorly and we want to avoid that. And so on a very natural level, Jesus, you teach us that it's okay to get a good night's sleep. It's okay to not be worried about these things, that we should have a certain amount of courage in the face of them, right? You want us to be courageous, to be confident, not to be foolhardy, but that when we are acting in your name, and even if it's something that could be frightening for us, you want us to be courageous. And you teach us that you, even before this big confrontation, you get a good night's sleep. You're sleeping there right in the middle of the boat, no matter how much it's being tossed about. Now, this isn't just a natural thing. It's also a supernatural thing. Jesus, you're going to do combat with the devil, that you're going to go and fight this legion of demons, and you are going to be victorious, and you know it, and they probably know it. And so it's no stretch of the imagination to consider that this wasn't just a normal storm that came up on the sea, even though those could happen, but this could be very much the devil trying to throw you and the apostles off guard, right? Trying to make things a bit more difficult. And that's exactly how the devil acts. The devil is going to try to throw us off guard whenever we have some big thing that we have to do. The devil can make it more difficult for us. But the saints know how to take those attempts of the devil to throw us off balance and to actually use them for our good. There's the story of St. Jean Vianney, the patron saint of parish priests, who would hear many, many confessions. And he had a very legendary confrontation with the devil, who would be constantly trying to disrupt the good work that St. Jean Vianney was doing in hearing many confessions and bringing many people back to God. And so the devil would torment this poor parish priest in the town of Ars in France. And the devil would make a lot of noises, and so much so that all the brave muscle men of the town were afraid, and they would come with their guns to guard their parish priest, and they would run away afraid. And finally it became apparent to our saint, St. Jean Vianney, that this was the work of the devil. And it was the devil trying to frighten him and frighten the town and get him to give up hearing confessions and give up preaching and bringing people back to the faith. And as soon as he realized it was the devil, and this is the devil's tactic, he regained a tremendous peace. And even when weird things would happen at night, and his bed would be thrown around the room, and all the furniture would be shaking, and it ended up not bothering him at all. He said to a friend of his, it's actually a good sign, because that means that there's always a good haul of fish the next day, right? Many more people would be coming to confession. St. Jean Vianney said to his friend, the devil gave me a good shaking last night. We shall have a great number of people tomorrow. He even had a nickname for the devil. He called him the Grappin, which is a pitchfork that just kind of throws hay all over the place. St. Jean Vianney said, the Grappin is very stupid. He himself tells me of the arrival of big sinners. He's angry, and so much the better. And so when the devil tries to throw us off guard, the Grappin, even that nickname, when the Grappin tries to throw us off guard, to stir up those waves and that wind, we can have confidence, just like St. Jean Vianney. The devil's very stupid. He gives himself away. There's maybe some good thing, some work of sanctification, someone that we can share the gospel with, someone that we can bring back to the love and mercy of God. And Jesus, you know this. And so the night before this confrontation, you get a good night's sleep. You're not afraid of the devil at all. And you teach us. You teach us how to not be afraid either. We can go to you. The apostles are terrified, and you rebuke them. Where's your faith? Right? Oh, you have little faith. Why are you afraid? You teach us not to be afraid, not just of wind and waves, but of future confrontations, particularly with evil. We're your sons and daughters. And so you teach us these things, not to panic, but to learn from your strength, from your confidence. Our mother also teaches us this. Mary steps on the head of the devil. She's not afraid of him at all. And so, Mother, teach us, just like in the presence of our mothers, where we don't have to be afraid of things that would otherwise terrify us. So, Mary, you could teach us how to have confidence, how to pay attention to your son and have that calm confidence to always do the work of God, even when the enemy tries to stir up fear in our hearts. I thank you, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, and inspirations which you have communicated to me in this meditation. I ask your help in putting them into effect. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, My guardian angel, intercede for me.